I am going to ask Mark Simone, WOR radio show host and nominee for the 2023 Radio Hall of Fame, which he will get, and Monica Crowley, former Assistant Treasury Secretary and host of the Monica Crowley podcast. She finally let me on a few weeks ago. How is this possible, Mark Simone? He spends his whole life in public affairs, in government, and all of a sudden, I mean, these aren't, one thing I want to say, we have pictures of it. These are not McMansions. These are big mansions, okay? The price tag on one of them looks like $5.5 million. I don't know what the other is. Where'd this money come from, Mark Simone?
We know where it came from. This mansion was the DuPont mansion. The DuPont family owned it.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
The DuPont family owned that.
They had a lot of money.
Yeah. So it says right in the email, I have to give half my salary to the big guy, to Pop. He says right in the email, I gave half my, that's 30, 40 million, that's half of it. You know, if Trump were smart, he would give Joe and Hunter $5 million and get this prosecutor fired too. It's pretty obvious. I don't care what Dan Goldman or anybody says. There's no other explanation for this. The Bidens got millions and millions and millions, and if they didn't deliver, then they committed fraud. They took the money under fraudulent means. It's obvious what they did.
See, I think that in common sense terms, okay, we can go through all the intricacies of what they did and all the wire fraud and the money fraud and the LLCs and all the rest of that stuff. And, of course, the BFF testimony of Devin Archer, former BFF. But for ordinary folks, they ask that simple question. How did this guy afford these? No one denies him a nice house, okay? Seriously. But these things, where did they come from? And what is the political impact of this as it comes out, Monica, as it will?
Yeah, I mean, look, this is textbook bribery, or at least appears to be textbook bribery. This is not a very complicated kind of scandal, like, let's say, the Whitewater investigation that was a complicated land deal that the American people struggled to understand. This looks like straight-up bribery, where you had Joe Biden as senator and then, more importantly, as vice president of the United States. And by the way, God knows what he's doing as president of the United States, leveraging his office to sell, access, changes in policy, influence peddling, etc., to the highest foreign bidder. And in many of these cases, as we now know, we're talking about some of America's worst enemies, like the CCP in China. We're talking about incredibly corrupt regimes, like in Ukraine and Romania and elsewhere. So Hunter Biden was being used as the bag man. This son of his, who has a long history of addiction and all kinds of vulnerabilities to blackmail and extortion and everything else, he's the point man on all of this, bagging the money for the Biden crime family. This is how they can afford 3 houses and multi-million-dollar lifestyle. They sold out the country to line their own pockets, the pockets of their crooked family, at the expense of American policy and the American people.
So we uncovered this National Review online article posted this afternoon where Hunter, back in 2011, I talked to Jim Jordan about this earlier in the show briefly. Hunter, back in 2011, said to Devin Archer, his former BFF, everything is to do with the last name. He said, I am nothing. There's nothing to do with me. It's all about the last name. I mean, if that isn't clear, and pathetic, I might add, nothing can be clearer than that.
No, and he did get the prosecutor fired in the Ukraine. He admits to it on video. There's no rational explanation why he would even know about this prosecutor if Burisma hadn't asked to have him fired. There's a conversation with the Ukrainian president where he says, I've done what you asked. I hope this fulfills my promise. And he says in the conversation, even though I don't know of anything this prosecutor has done wrong. So clearly it was a favor.
What's the political fallout right now, right this second? How do you rank the political fallout?
I know there's some internal polling that's around that shows Biden has lost the 3 things that got him elected. One, they thought he was a healer, a uniter. That's lost. People know he's not. People thought he was blue collar, lunch bucket Joe. They know he's not. He's a wealthy guy. And the other thing was the grandfather, the sweet grandfather.
Oh.
They know that's gone.
All of that imaging is blown out of the window. And the flip side of all of this is that they are indicting Donald Trump for Joe Biden's crimes.
Oh.
And I think the American people understand that very clearly.
All right, Mark Simone, Monica Crowley. We should be in the real estate business. Come on.